Dee Dee Davis. Happy to have you. Finally made it happen. Got you on the platform. For the people that might not be familiar with you, let the people know who you are.
Okie dokie. Well, my name's Dee Dee Davis. I played Baby Girl from the Bernie Mac show, born and raised in Chicago. I've done other things, but mainly, like, the main thing that I did was my role as Baby Girl. So,
And take me through that. Like, how did that come about? You getting the role in the Bernie Mac show, you playing his niece.
well, me and my mom put me and my sister into modeling, and we used to do competitions and things like that. My sister got scouted for an episode of the Power Rangers. And I remember being on set and I was like, oh, I want to act too. Apparently, I said this at the age of 3. I really don't remember. But my mom decided to put me into acting too. And I remember bits and pieces of the audition. Like, I remember I went there in like pajamas and little, was it bunny slippers and stuff? Because we were doing the nighttime scene. The 2 scenes we went over was the nighttime scene, and it was the scene when we were like, the bell didn't go ding ding when he needed some tissue. So I remember me and my mom went through that process. I remember like doing the lines and stuff like that. And the day off the audition, I remember I went into a room, went over the lines like I usually did with my mom, and it was a room full of like a bunch of men, and Bernie was the only black man in that room. He had on a nice suit, and I did it. I left, and when we were walking to the car, I remember that he came out and had a conversation with my mom, and I think it was just more on the like basis of like, oh, you from Chicago? Oh yeah, we from Chicago. I think we had like family members that went to the same church, and that's really what I remember from like that whole process. And then I remember like I got it and everyone was just going crazy. I remember my mom was like, "Yeah, got it," and I'm just like, "Yeah, what I get?" Like, I really didn't even understand the whole process of the show when it first started. Literally thought that these people were my family members because at 4 they're talking about, "Oh, this is your Uncle Bernie, this is your Aunt Wanda," and I'm like, "Okay, so my are these really my auntie and uncle?" But those are just some of the like early experiences I remember. But they were at least sweet enough to like let me call them Uncle Bernie and like Aunt Wanda offset too. Just because I think it would have kind of taken me out of character if they were like, no, you got to call me just Bernie or anything like that. But they were nice enough to let me actually call them Uncle Bernie and Aunt Wanda.
How often did y'all shoot? Was y'all shoot weekly, bi-weekly? How did that go?
It was like a Monday through Friday, off on the weekends. I kind of felt like the hours you would go to school was like the hours I would be working. So wake up in the morning, go to set Monday through Friday, have the weekends off. We would have like summer vacation per se. We would go on a hiatus, and yeah, it was just like a normal like school day. Well, that was like my school day, honestly. Wake up, go to set, get ready, do my lines. If I'm not in the scene, go upstairs to my dressing room or go to school for a couple hours, and it was regular 9 to 5. A 9 to 5 at 4 is crazy, by the way, but you know.
How was that like for you working with Bernie Mac? I heard you call him like a second dad to you. He taught you how to tie your shoes, ride a bike. How was that
Yeah.
like being on set with him?
I think that Bernie made a very warm atmosphere on set. Like it was very family oriented. Like he didn't necessarily teach me how to ride a bike, but they made an episode where I had to learn how to ride a bike. So guess I gotta learn. And also another episode when I learned how to tie my shoes. I actually had to learn to tie my shoes. But no, he was really like a father figure mainly because it taped in LA. So me, my sister, and my mother lived in LA, and my dad stayed in Chicago. So we would just go back and forth all the time. So I really didn't feel like I had that male presence always around just because my dad was in another city. And so he was that presence for me, like really was like an uncle or like, give me advice on certain things. Like there's only so much advice you can give a little kid, but just him teaching me how to like snap my fingers in between scenes is just like one big takeaway I have for him. Or just the energy he would bring to set and make the comfortability like people had with him, the way he made. I've worked on another set. Nothing competes to the way he made everyone feel on set. Other sets, like the atmosphere of it, it really felt like a family.
I heard, I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard that they put you on a meal plan.
Not a meal plan. They didn't put me on a meal plan, but they was definitely like, all right now, you better calm down on that commissary. Um, Apparently, I was getting too chubby, and you know, I was a kid. Like my mom used to call it baby fat. Like, but it was an issue for the network. Like me going up in sizes, or we're about to start a new season and they pretty much have like all the type of clothes and sizes that I should be wearing, and then we're doing the fitting for the season and it's just like, you went up, oh you're this size, oh you're that size, oh. And um I remember my mom tried to handle it the best way she could, as far as like, all right, like you gotta hone in on that snacking, or this ain't just eat whatever you want. So my mom definitely tried to get me to eat healthier, but that was a issue. That was an issue that that really creates insecurities in a child, at that, to kind of like be told that you have to watch what you eat because the network's not happy with your weight, you know? In so many words, but yeah, kind of started some problems and some insecurities, but it's okay now. We've gotten through it. I go to the gym now, so
So that led to your insecurities, them complaining about your weight.
oh yeah. Oh, what? Yeah. I'm big on insecurities. Got a bunch of them. But my biggest insecurity has always been my weight. Um, I just felt uncomfortable. And mind you, like my sister was always a very thin shaped. So it was just like, dang. And I was always chubby, or I've always been like, no, I've always been like a chubbier kid, or things like that. So I think that was one thing. And then my mom trying to handle it and letting me know, like, you need to start watching what you eat. I think that was a thing as well. Like, I just had insecurities, or like people would make, look, kids are mean. They make fun of me. Like, I remember a kid was like, oh, I didn't know Dee Dee was pregnant in the front and the back. And I was like, sheesh. Mind you, we're 8. We're 8. I'm a sensitive child too. So a lot of that stuff I brought up with me. I kind of feel like growing up in LA, it's different. Like LA, I feel like people looked at me like I'm overweight, I'm obese, things like that. I come to Chicago, I learned that I'm not fat, I'm just thick. And I was like, that's crazy, you know? But it's not as bad as it was. Like looking back on it, I can make light of it just because like I know where I am now and I don't really hold that baggage anymore.
That's terrible, man, for them to bring that up to your parents.
Yeah, it's not like the network came to me and had a meeting like, "Hey, bro, you need to put down them snacks." It was just more of like, "Hey, let's reel it in." Is the way my mom presented to me. I honestly don't even know how it was presented to my mom. I just know how my mom was like, yeah, we're gonna have to like cut some of that out. But that is horrible for a 6-year-old kid have to be worrying about what they look like or their body weight and stuff like that is completely unnecessary. I think that also there's such a stigma when it came to acting. You have to look a certain way, like I never felt like I was the black girl that they wanted. It would be like other auditions and I would go out for other things and I just never felt like they wanted my type of little black girl. Like me and my sister would make it a point that we would not go out on auditions that would be like all ethnicity because they would never pick us. We would just get looked over and it would just end up being a waste of time, to the point like, and also you have to understand, like as a kid hearing those repetitive no's, it's hard. Or going for an audition and not getting a call back, or like going to another audition the next week and seeing that they're doing callbacks for the audition you went on last week, and you're just kind of like, dang, so they didn't like me, or like it makes you internalize a couple of things. But I just never felt like they liked me. They always picked, and I mean, no offense to the networks, but if you look back on it, like they always picked black girls that look mixed, or that have the natural, like really nice curly hair, the fair skin. I mean, I'm caramel, but you know, they was picking other people. They wasn't looking for me. I think once the Bernie Mac show was over, I was just tired. Like I get these no's. Mind you, the network I was working with didn't really like my weight, and it was just kind of like I wanted a break. I just kind of wanted a break from the whole acting life in general. Um yeah, like I said, all those repetitive no's just kind of gets under your skin and just kind of like, well, why didn't they like me? What could I've done differently, or things like that. Or there was some auditions that I didn't get, and I seen like the girl that they end up choosing. And I was just like, okay, well, then it becomes like I'm comparing myself to like what does she bring to the table? Maybe they didn't like the way I said this, or maybe they don't like the way I look. Maybe it just I think, and mind you, I'm like 10 at this point, so I shouldn't be thinking like that at 10 years old, or like, what's wrong with me? Why did they pick her over me? And like, then I also feel like that creates like jealousy and hatred towards other people. Cause now, like, now I'm mad because you took my role and now I don't like you. So I just think that was too much for a kid, honestly, to be going through all that.
When you was on a show, was you homeschool or private school?
I was homeschooled, actually. I was homeschooled my entire life. Like, from kindergarten, because I was in kindergarten when I started the show. No, I went to preschool. I did go to a public preschool, and then I was homeschooled from kindergarten up until my sophomore year in high school. I went to public school. So we would have our own teachers on set. And I had my own teacher. Jeremy had his own teacher. Camille. I think they had they shared a teacher, but then they ended up getting their own teachers in their own schoolrooms and stuff like that. And so we would just like in between takes do a scene. Once they're done with my scene, they're moving on to the next one. I go upstairs, either go into my dressing room, do a couple of hours of school. But even then, the schooling wasn't even the best situation because, like at max, we could do 4 hours of school, or we had to do 4 hours of school, but that's it on a daily. So Monday through Friday, my school days are about 4 hours, and that's it. Even though, shout out to Susan, that was my teacher. I love her.
How was that like? Did they know you was the little girl from the Bernie Mac show?
Yes, that was horrible. That my no, first day, first off, my dad sent me to school on a Friday. Who does that? Like, what is this? A preschool day? Like that's so immature of him to do that. So I did it on a Friday. Um, I was so nervous because this is honestly my first time being around so many people that's my age. Mind you, I was so socially awkward around people my age. Like I could sit here and, oh, hi, nice to meet you. My name's Dee Dee Davis, blah, blah, blah. I could do that to an adult because I was going on doing interviews and award shows and red carpets. So I could talk to an adult, but like kid wise, I was just like, oh, I don't even know what to talk about. Like it was just so awkward for me. But back to my first day, someone asked me, like, you look like the girl from the Bernie Mac show. And I was like, I am. And he was like, no, you're not. And I'm like, why would I lie? Like, literally, that's the most random person to pick to lie about being. So I was like, no, it's me. Yeah, I'm her. And he was like, that's crazy. That was third period. By eighth period, there was a crowd of people by my locker. And I had a locker partner at the time too. So she like, what is going on? And I'm like, oh my gosh, it was like a whole bunch of kids and they was just surrounding my locker. They were like, oh my God, oh my God. And then it was this, I remember it was two boys that helped me. One of them was named Jakari, the other one I don't remember his name, but he was like, we gonna be your security. Everyone get the hell back. Back up, back up, back up. My locker partner, she grabbed me, she took me to the bus. And then we got on the bus and she was like, so why was everyone by our locker? And I was like, oh yeah. It's like, you ever seen the Bernie Mac show? Yeah, that's me. Um, but overall, it got better. It got better. Just the first day that was rough. That first day when everyone found out was rough. Even like the teachers were excited and stuff. Like it's so funny looking back on it. I really should have had some security for real because it was like a whole crowd by my locker. And mind you, I'm a regular person. I've never looked at myself as famous or really didn't even understand the concept of me being on a show when I was growing up. So like that's not even where I'm at for people to just be like, "Oh my God." And I'm just like, "Calm down, guys." Like it's just the Bernie Mac show. Like chill.
Was you dealing with any kind of hate?
Oh, Yeah, I still get hate. I still get hate. I still, mind you, I'm 29 now. Started the show when I was 4. It ended when I was 9, turning 10. So it's been about 20 years since we stopped filming. 20 years. And I still get, you think you better than us because you was on the show. And I'd be like, come on, bro. The show ended 20 years ago. why am I no? A lot of people just was like, oh, she's uppity and she's stuck up and she's this and this and that. Mind you, I'm just over here chilling. Like just I have anxiety. I was nervous. I wasn't talking to anybody. I would just be in my own little bubble at school. And people took that as me being like too good for them. Like, oh, she never talks. Yeah, I'm over here having a panic attack. That's why I'm not talking. But you deal with that regardless.
You being someone that was homeschooled, right? I want to ask you, do you think that has a long-term effect on the kid?
I think it actually got me in a little bit of trouble just because I was so sheltered as a kid to the point that like so sheltered as a kid didn't know nothing about like drugs, gangs, violence, like things like that. Got to school and yeah, some little thugs in high school. Like they really kind of just like put me on. They pretty much put me on. Like that's where I started to get my like street knowledge from, um, which I'm glad I did because I was just so naive to so many different aspects of life. Like I was just like so sheltered that it's like when real life hit me, it hit me hard. It hit me pretty hard to the point where like I had to learn some lessons, but no one ever like taught me certain things. So it was just like a learning experience. Um, I think it was very helpful for me though, just because stop when I did stop acting and I had a regular life, that literally made me who I am today. So I'm grateful that I've had those experiences and things like that. But I think they could have unsheltered me a little bit more, so it wasn't just like that much of a hit. Like I had a friend in high school whose father was locked up, and I remember I came home from school and I was just so sad, and my dad was like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "My friend's dad is in jail," and he was like, "Okay." I was like, that's so sad. Like he's locked up. They don't know when he's coming out or what's going on. And he was like, yeah, yeah, Dee Dee. Yeah, it's real life like that. And I was like, what if you went to jail? Like, what if I couldn't see you all the time? Like, just a culture shock. This is a mess. But I'm glad it happened the way it did.
That's crazy when you think about it, because I mean they were still showing the reruns while you were still in school. So
Yeah, literally, people were like, "You're my age." Everyone thinks like I'm a child or I'm just not supposed to grow. I don't know what it is, but they were like, "Man, I thought you was a kid." Yeah, I was, but that's funny.
I know you was a kid when you was on the Bernie Mac show, but do you remember any time where they was trying to get Bernie Mac to do something he was uncomfortable with, or no?
Um, no, anything that if they said they wanted him to do it and he didn't want to do it, he wasn't gonna do. I know that for sure. Um, I don't remember a lot of instances that happened, but there was one thing, and it was like a video circulating around of it. We were doing a photo shoot of we were recreating the Good Times photo shoot, and in the Good Times photo, JJ was sitting on his lap. And so they were telling Jeremy, like, okay, we're gonna put him on your lap. And Bernie was like, no, you're not. They were like, yeah, for the picture. And he was like, you're not gonna put the grown man on my lap. Like, no. He was stand firm on anything he believed. So there may have been instances that I really, I'm a child, so I'm just like do skipping and doing stuff. But that was the only time I really recall him like, like no. And like if you don't stand for something, you'll go for anything. So like he definitely would stand firm in things he wasn't gonna do.
I heard you and Jordan, y'all really didn't get along on set.
No, we hated each other. We literally had beef. Like he was my op at one point just because he would really mess with me. Like I don't have a brother. So all that like nagging and picking on me, I'm just like, bro, leave me alone. Even my sister wouldn't do that type of stuff. So we would really like be going at it. We were really like, it all started because, he really started the beef. He started the beef and it escalated to our families. We had to move dressing rooms, all type of stuff. Just if he would have just got out my face this one day, we would have been fine. Literally asked him a simple question. Said, have you seen my mom? He was like, no, your mom went back to Chicago and she took your sister and she's never coming back because she hates you and blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, oh my God. I'm literally just looking for my mom and you told me she moved back to Chicago and left me here. I'm 4. I'm 4. What did you think was going to happen from that? Yeah, so we had a beef. We would just pick with each other. Literally just pick with each other, call each other names, get excited whenever we had a fighting scene. Um, Mind you, me and him, we honestly didn't get close until recent, like later in years, like us fully being adults. And it's so crazy because I'd be like, I say it all the time, like, Jay, that's my name. Like, that is, we're locked in. Like, that is my homie for real. Anything that I want to do, Jay's like, come on, I'm down. Let's do it. Let's go. Like, he's just one of those. It's so funny though. Like, we really hated each other. Like, I could not stand him. Couldn't stand him. Our parents got into it because he was always picking with me. And if you knew my mom was a firecracker. So like, don't. It's been several times that Bernie would have to tell her like, all right, Sid, don't let the Chicago out on them. Don't calm down. Like, I know Bernie didn't give me a lot of advice, but he did give my mom a lot of advice as far as how to maneuver her children within the industry. But my mom would go off. Got into it with his mom, got into it with Jeremy's mom, his grandmother. They really had issues. Him and my mom and his grandma, they really had beef. Like we used to have a dressing room right next to each other, but they had to move it because it was just too much. It was too much. It was always something. It was always something. I don't know. Like, even if I think his grandma or his mom may have looked at my mom weird one day, and my mom's like, "I'm tired of blah blah blah." Yeah, yeah. Go ahead and move that dressing room over there. After they moved the dressing room, did we have any problems? Not at all. I think he's about 6 or 7 years older than me. So, I mean, what were we really about to talk about? Or like, it's not like we're kicking it or hanging out at that age. We did a Bernie Mac show like reunion. Was that maybe like 2019? And that was my first time seeing him since the last time I seen him was Bernie's memorial, and then that was so many years ago. And then I seen him in 2019, and it was so much fun. Like we went out to a bar, and we just like hung out, and I was just like, wow, you're actually pretty cool. Like, so funny.
I heard they had a nickname when he'll be on set called Spittles.
He used to spit when he talk. No, I don't even know why you asking that. Go back on the show. I know there's a scene of him talking, and it's I know that's in the show. There's got to be a scene or something, man. It used to just come out. I would get on the AD's mics, and I'd be like, cover your food, cover your food. Spittles is on set. Spittles is on set. And people would be like, Skittles, no, Spittles. Spittles. I thought it was a clever name. But yeah, literally. I can literally like imagine him just talking. He used to be like, Bernie, Bernie, and it just like just attacking. Sorry, Jay, but like it was bad when he was a kid. He don't spit no more. Like, he's a calm talker now.
I know some years ago a video went viral, right? Where he was working at a cell phone place and everybody was making a big deal out of it.
Yeah. Literally, if you were a child actor and you decide to live your life that's not in the standard of how people used to watch you, they're just mad. Like, he worked at a phone store, and somebody came in there, and I think they took a picture or they asked him a couple of questions. I don't really see the big deal in it just because like I've had regular jobs as well. So I think that's kind of embarrassing, like when people to come in there like and be like, "Hey, look at you now." Like, that's so awkward. That's so awkward. And mind you, like, he's living his life and he's happy doing whatever he's doing. So it really doesn't matter. I used to go through the same thing. I literally worked at a grocery store. Yeah, I've had several different like real jobs. Mainly office work. I've done a lot of office work. You would be so surprised what my resume looks like, and not even just like the acting stuff. Um, but I worked at a grocery store one point in my life, and I worked in the fruit department. Mind you, I did everything in that store. I did everything. I worked in the meat and cheeses, the seafood, the bakery, and the fruit. So one day I was just in there, mind you, I'm chilling, cutting pineapple, doing whatever I'm doing. And someone walks in there and was just like, baby girl, hey, that's baby girl. Do you know? That's so embarrassing. Like, please, I'm gonna need you to calm down. And then everyone's so upset. Man, why are you over here cutting fruit? Like, look, bro, I'm just trying to make a living. Like, but yeah, no, that's definitely embarrassing. That's so embarrassing. I had on a hairnet. I was like, hey, bro, I'll for real tell somebody. I was like, don't you ever do that shit again. Don't you ever come up in this stuff and be sitting here with a phone talking about baby girl. Mind you, I'm like looking crazy in the video. No.
When you was on the Bernie Mac show, I had no idea that you didn't see eye to eye with the woman that plays your aunt on the show, right? Wanda.
Um, um, not as a child. So I said a statement, and I think a lot of people think like, "Oh, dang, what happened on set?" Like, no, this is much later in life. No, I actually looked up to her quite a lot during the show. Like, she used to call me Biscuit, and I would call her like Aunt Wanda on and off set. We actually had a really good relationship on the show. Respectfully, respectfully, um, she became a mentor of mine in like 2019, the end of 2019. And pretty much honestly, it's a lot of pros and it's a lot of cons. At one point she was damn near like someone I looked up to. Mind you, I don't look up to a lot of people because I feel like a lot of people be making bad decisions that I personally wouldn't make myself. So I felt like she was one of the people that I actually looked up to, like I admired. And there was a lot of good in our relationship, and then it got outweighed by the bad, is as simply was as it is. Like, and so I just know like moving forward we would never be cool again or have any type of relationship, just because it's not worth it to me. Like, the takeaway is thank you for what you've done for me, but no, it's a no for me. It's a no for me, respectfully. Too many cons.
She was talking crazy to you or something? Y'all got into it?
No, she didn't talk to me per se crazy. Um, we really just had see, it's so hard because you can't. I don't want to sit here and just talk about the bad because there was a lot of good with it, but at the end of it,
So start with the good first.
the good. You want to start with the good? Okay. She she was pretty much just like helping me out. I wanted to get back into acting, and she was helping me get back into it. At one point, we did live with each other. Mind you, I have a son, so it was like me in my early 20s, and my son was about like maybe three or four. And I think that right there was a lot on her plate for me and my son, but at the same time, it was disrespect. Um, Me personally, I was talked about. My mother was talked about. My father was talked about. My son was talked about, and it became to a point where I was like, I need to leave your space, respectfully. But it just didn't end good. It just didn't end on good terms, and that's okay. And it's life. I don't wish her no harm or no foul. We'll just never be a part of each other's lives, and I really don't want that relationship. So yeah, I think I said it a little harsh in my TikTok, my live, because everyone was just like, "What happened to such and such? What happened to such and such?" And I'm just like, "I don't f- with her. Leave me alone. Stop asking. Stop asking." But I think people don't understand how I talk neither. So it just simple is what it is. I got a little bit of my mom's spirit, so like that firecracker will come out on me too. So it was on my heart to have a conversation, but I was just like, why? Why do I have to have a conversation about it? Like, we know we know what's wrong. We know what's wrong. Like it is what it is. Like it's just like I'll chuck it up as a loss. Like I just don't care for it no more. I really there ain't nothing to say about it. Like it happened. We not in each other's lives. We thriving. That's all it is. Respectfully, she said.
Let me ask you this: if she was willing to talk and come to a common ground, would you be open to it?
No, no, it's over. No, ain't nothing to talk about. Ain't nothing to talk about. Ain't nothing to talk about. Literally, look, let me let me fix my paint. Ain't nothing to talk about. We ain't gotta talk about nothing. Even if you wanted to, like, I've let it go. So let's not relive it because it will make me mad. So we could leave that in the past. I really don't see no offense. Like I don't want to sit here and make it seem like I'm downing someone because I would never. I just don't see any value of her in my life. And I'm pretty sure I don't add any value to hers. So we can leave it at that.
Camille, how was it like working with her?
I love Camille. I know how to do a cartwheel because of Camille, by the way. That's actually one thing she taught me. She used to do gymnastics. And so my mom and her mom were very close. One second. My mom, I'm sorry. My mom and her mom were very close. So we would go to like her gymnastic meets and things like that. She was close with my sister too because they're closer in age range. But I love Camille. She's a great person. We used to call her Fluff. Why? Have no idea. But like that would be her name, her nickname. Everyone gets nicknames apparently. It's funny.
The OnlyFans she came out with some years ago. How did you feel about the backlash she got when she came out that OnlyFans?
See, okay, cause I'm defensive about my people. So like when mind you, when she decided that that was the route she was going to start, she reached out to us and like told me like, "Hey, this probably is they're probably going to say something to you." And I'm just like, "Hey, bro, go crazy." Like ball. So, um I'm just very defensive. Like I hate when people bring it up to me because what does it matter? It's none of your business. It's her pockets, her money, her body. She do whatever she want. I'm just very defensive. Like, man, have you seen? No, I haven't seen it. I'm not looking for it either. But like, don't sit here and play with her in front of me because it's not gonna be. It's not gonna be good. I'm very defensive. I am in the comments. I be atting people back all type of stuff. Like, don't sit here and come for her. Like, literally, you're not even doing shit with your life, and you sitting here mad at her that she making money. Crazy. Anyways,
I didn't see the big deal. She was posting lingerie pictures. It's not like she was wilding out. So yeah, I ain't get it, man.
I don't even know because that's literally none of my business. And if it is just lingerie, me personally, I don't want to see it. Like, girl, you like my sister. I don't, I don't care what you're doing on there. And it's just kind of like, I don't know. People are just so weird. People really have like an idea of what you should be doing with your life. And if you don't live up to this facade that they have of how you should be living, you're a disappointment. Or, oh, I guess, you know what I hate? Oh, I guess the Bernie Mac checks dried up. I know we not talking about no checks from 20 years ago. Like y'all really just need to calm down. Like I don't even know why it's such a big a thing of how much money do you have? Oh, do you still have this much money? Like that's just so personal regardless. Like that's no one's business. Like I don't be sitting here like pull out your wallet. Let me see how much money you got up in your pocket. Like it's people do too much.
How many seasons was the Bernie Mac show?
5 seasons. We did 5 seasons. 5 seasons, 101 episodes. Or maybe like 109, 105, somewhere around there. I remember when we got to 100. I remember we had like a whole little party because we got to 100 episodes. But it was 5 seasons. We taped for 5 years.
Do y'all get any residuals for the show or no?
No, we get residuals. Still get residuals. Still getting to this day. To this day. Sorry. I be quoting memes.
Take me through when the show ended. Like, how was that like for you? How did you get the news?
Um, it was it was right before my 10th birthday. Um, my mom told me like literally the news hit harder than my parents' divorce. Like like my mom was like, "Yeah, we're not coming back." I remember being in our office and I was just crying cuz I was just like, "Dang, like so does this mean I'm not going to see them anymore or like everybody on set, it was so many people to wardrobe, to hair and makeup, to the Smiths and the Grips that was on the set. Like I literally had like a relationship with all these people. And so it was just like it was my regular, it was my day to day, it was my normal. Like every morning I see all these people and this is my day to day. So I took it pretty hard just because it felt like a family and it was like, now what? I was definitely sad, but I think we could kind of tell it was coming to an end towards like the last season. That's where we could like physically see some of Bernie's ailments. And I you know like you could kind of looking back on it, I could tell like it probably wasn't going to keep going. It would have been cool though. Like I remember we would talk about like what would the next couple of seasons look like. Um I remember Camille had a kiss on screen. Jeremy had a kiss on screen, and so like the big thing was like, yeah, one day Dee Dee's gonna have to do her kiss on scene or kiss on screen or whatever. And I would have liked to see how my character changed or developed if the seasons would have went on. Like I think that's a pretty good thought. Like, dang, what would I have turned into like if the show wasn't didn't get canceled or if it didn't end?
So Bernie Mac illness was the reason why the show ended?
Me personally, I think that was one of the main reasons. I think that was one of the main reasons. Shoot, we could damn near chat GPT that. I'm assuming it was one of them. I know he was still acting. He did a couple of other things after the show, but I think also we had did our run. We had did our full run and just I think towards the end it got hard for him to film. I remember us deliberately like taping episodes out of order because we had to do whatever we could do without him being there, or we were taping around scenes um, when he wasn't there. So I remember like the days were a little bit out of order because like he's damn near in every other scene. So we were just I think we were kind of just doing what we could at a moment, and yeah.
Was he in good spirits even though he was going through health issues?
To me, yeah, in my eyes. If he wasn't, he never showed it. I personally didn't see it. Even like when he had like his oxygen tank around set or anything like that, he never let me see him down. I never seen him like sad or like looking ill or just like down. He I think he handled it like a soldier. Like you couldn't I personally couldn't tell. I think he just held it well.
So he had an oxygen tank on set?
Yeah, so he definitely had that around set. I remember when it happened. I remember my mom had a conversation with me like, Uncle Bernie has this tank with him. And I would be like, why? And she was like, to help him breathe. And I'm like, okay. I mean, also, I have asthma. So I had a nebulizer and inhalers. I'm just like, okay. He need help breathing. So do I. So like I just never I never looked at it as it being deeper than what it actually was, or like honestly knowing what all he was going through.
R.I.P. Bernie Mac. But tell me about the last 2 years you was at the BET Awards. I know a lot of people was coming up to you, right?
Oh, that was actually really fun. Did the whole BET experience. Mind you, like the last no, this year I went. So we were doing interviews. I do a lot of interviews and things with Money Tree TV. And so we were going around interviewing different people, talking to people. And so many children kept coming up to me and were like, I literally remember we're sitting here recording. And I got a mic and we're interviewing some people, and there's this older man and a little girl just standing right there. And so they're looking at me and I'm looking at them and I'm like, y'all need help with something? And he was like, would you mind taking a picture? I said, yeah, I can take a picture of y'all. And he was like, no, with you. And I was like, with me? And the little girl was like, yeah, aren't you baby girl from the Bernie Mac show? And I was like, what? Yeah. And the dad was like, yeah, she noticed you. And I was like, that's crazy that you're like 6 or 7 years old and you notice me as an adult from the show. Like literally, my son doesn't give two shits about me being on the show. And here comes a little kid the same age that's like, oh my God, I love baby girls. So it was just like, um, it was that was like one of the best moments that it was so many children coming up to me. And I'm just like, that's so crazy that these little kids are really watching the show and are noticing me. But overall, the BET whole weekend is so much fun. Anytime that I can go back to LA, I will, because I feel like, I'm from Chicago, but I definitely was raised in the West Coast for a good part of my life. So it was super fun.
I heard you on a fitness journey right now.
Yes. Yeah. Muscle mommy over here. But yeah. So I started working out a couple years ago, maybe like three. Now, let's circle back to the insecurities that I said I've always had. Um, so like I've always tried to get into exercising, but it's never really stuck with me. And then after I had my daughter in 2021. uh I was just big. I was just big. Like when I was pregnant with her, I was about like 214, two something. And then after I had her, I was still in the 200s and I was like, dang, like I really let myself go. And so I just was motivated to work out. Like, you know, I didn't like what I seen looking in the mirror. So it was just like, let me do it. Let me just go. So would go every day, or I would try to go like maybe 3 times a week. And I was doing good by myself. I was working out for a year by myself. And then I got a trainer, started going 3 times a week for real. And now, like, I'm lifting weights. Like, I'm really doing work. Mind you, when I started working out, I was just like going to elliptical for like 30 minutes and just be on it. I got a trainer. I made some gym friends, and I've just been committed ever since. Literally, like I'm so glad I got into the gym because it's kind of like my therapy in a sense. I let out my frustrations and my aggression, and it's something about really being in control of your body. Like I think the gym is where I got my confidence. That's where like I started to lose my insecurities and actually like look at myself and be like, okay, like, and now it's just to the point where like I love the gym. I love being strong and like having that whole gym relationship. Like literally all my best friends are right now are like the people that I met at the gym. And it's just so crazy that how much that has actually helped my life. It's crazy what working out will do.
Health is wealth. Got to make sure your health on point. Let me ask you this. Why do you think a lot of child actors, spiral out of control? Orlando Brown, for example.
Please, I knew it. I knew you was gonna say him. Man, no offense, Orlando, to him. But mind you, we were very close with Kyle Massey, Chris and Kyle. They're brothers. Their mom was like super best friends with my mom. And so like they were in child acting and brothers, and me and my sister were child actors, sisters. So we would always be around them. And we would be on the set of That's So Raven a lot. He was crazy back then. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Orlando was boy, that man was nuts back then. Like he would just say stuff, and my mom would always be like, he was a wild one. My mom would always say that. She'd be like, "Ooh, boy, he's a wild one." Um, why do I feel like they turn out like that? I don't know. I don't want to just sit here and be like, drugs, but I'll say this: a lot of child actors um, be on drugs, and I think they're also introduced to it at a very young age, at a very young age, and we're also undoing stuff that we shouldn't be doing. Like, mind you, I would go to after parties at nightclubs at like 6 and 7 years old because we would go to like an American Idol thing and then it would be an after party. All these after party award shows and things like that. So I think that you can see a lot being a child star, and it's rough on certain people. Like, I could have let my whole insecurity or my body the body thing really spiral me out of control. But I think also I got out of the industry in a well enough time for me to finish growing up just regular and just peaceful and humble and calm. I mean, I'm nuts, but I ain't that crazy. But I don't know. I just think the industry is difficult for some kids to navigate. Um, and no offense to Nickelodeon, but like it's man, have you seen that show? The behind the scenes show about some different Nickelodeon shows and like the things that they was going through, and like it's tough. It's definitely tough.
Yeah, I was hearing about that. I know Omar Gooden, he told me about it, but yeah, man. I mean, sad, man. But Orlando, he was really a wild guy back then. Everything you see right now, you're not surprised. He was doing that back then.
Yeah, he was crazy. He would say some things and you'd be like, okay." Like, yeah, no. I think it just like it's not like he got crazy out of nowhere. I personally feel like I didn't know him too much, but I knew of him like we would work around each other and work together on certain things, or like events or autograph signings, and like, yeah, we knew like, oh yeah, something ain't right. Like, he would say anything. And I think he still says anything now, but it's just like amplified. It's amplified now.
What were some of the other shows that shot on y'all lot? Because I know when you shoot in a TV show, it's other shows too that's on the same lot shooting.
Yeah. So the other shows that taped on our lot, it was off of Rafford. It was in Studio City, where we taped. There was a show called Passions. It was a me and my sister used to watch it. It was like a drama. It was Passions, the 70s show. I remember the 70s show set because they had this huge tie-dye door on the outside of their set. Um, but in our like specific building, it was two sets, and then the Bernie Mac show set was in the basement level, and it was like this huge like basement level that we could like make all our the whole house under there. But above us was Malcolm in the Middle and According to Jim. So like Frankie Muniz, like his dressing room was like down the hallway from mine. It like that's even funny to think about. Or remember they taped a pilot. I think Tracy Morgan had a pilot taped on our lot. Um Redman and Method Man, they had something. I don't know if they fully had a show or if they had a pilot. All I know is that we went to their set. Unfortunately, I don't think their show took off. So then the people on that set, they gave us their furniture from like from like their show and stuff, and we took it and put it in my dressing room. It was like this real big purple couch that was like on their show, and they were like, "Y'all want it?" We was like, "Yeah." Took some of their props, put it in our dressing room. I remember that. What other show? Um, the Hughleys was on there. Was there any other shows? There was probably some other ones that I just can't even remember. Those were the main ones that I remember though.
When I think about it, the milk and cookies joke by Bernie Mac, you was playing a 2-year-old, right? That he was talking about?
Yeah, it was supposed to be, yeah. That I think my character was inspired by that joke, or the show was inspired by that stand up he did. Um but let's be honest, how many times did anybody really see me eat milk and cookies on the show? Or when did I ever say that I want some milk and cookies? Like that was like I never said that. But like It's so crazy how milk and cookies follows me for the rest of my life. Literally, I was eating a cookie and they were like, "Oh, look at baby girl eating her milk and cookies." I'm like, "Jeez, guys." It's so funny. I think I maybe ate cookies like a couple of times in the show, but it was not like the joke.
For the most part, when you was on set, everything was smooth, right?
Yeah, it was very smooth. I, well, me like per se have any altercations with Bernie? No, or nothing really even on set. Like, mm, you know what? I'm not even. I'm gonna take that back. I don't know. I was also a child. I'm pretty sure some stuff was going on that set that they was not telling me about for real. Like it's a whole bunch of like there was a rumor. I don't know. If I call my sister, she'll be like, "Oh yeah, no, that was true." That they were talking about replacing somebody, but I don't know if that's really real or not. So, talk is what I've heard. Like, mind you, this is like so many years later. I heard like, yeah, they was about to get her up out of there at one point. Because apparently it was trouble on set with her. But then again, I was about like 8, so I don't know. That's what I heard though.
Dee Dee Davis, great interview, man. Very insightful. We gotta run this back, man. But before we end it, I want to ask you because I know you get real mad about Bernie Mac passing, and I want you to break it down for the people, so they can stop asking you. Why do you get so mad when people ask you about his passing?
Yeah, I think I just personally feel like that's such an unsincere question to ask me. That's so unsincere to for you to sit here and be like, "Did you cry when he died?" Off rip, my first and I'm really working on my answers because it's like, what do you mean? Like, did you cry when your grandma died? How did you feel? How do you welcome death? Like, how do you feel? I feel like that's such a stupid question and you don't know what I'm going through. That question could be triggering to me. It can make me relive memories. I just don't understand why someone wants to know if I cried. Yes, I cried. I was sad. It is very sad, but I just think why don't you ask me a different question? Like, you could ask me like something that makes me think about the happy times or happy memories. Why would you just off rip? Like, why do you want to know that? Did you go to his funeral? Oh, did you yes, I went to his memorial. But like just don't ask me that question. It will not never be greeted with respect. I swear. Just because I feel offended. Like, why would you ask me that? Literally, why would you ask me that? And then when I'd be like, okay, well, how'd you feel when yo such and such died? Man, I was just trying to ask. Okay, and I'm just trying to ask a question. It's so funny. Like, did you cry? Yes, I cried. Like, it's weird. I just don't think that people should ask me that question. Like, there's so many different ways you can phrase it, or like why you want to know if I'm sad about it is so weird. Like, can you imagine if I was like, nah, I didn't cry? You'd look at me crazy. Like, I'm a human. Literally, I was at the gym and I hate when people find out that I'm from the show because they'll ask a couple questions, which I don't mind. But somebody was just like, you was sad? You was sad when he passed? Yeah, I was. Like, what else do you want me to sit here and say? Like, ugh. It's such an ignorant question.
What you got popping, yo? Let the people know what you got going on, man. Shout out your social media accounts,
Yes.
man. Let the people know what's up, yeah.
Well, currently I do bookings, hostings, promotion, walkthroughs. Um, I currently do have a podcast in the works with one of my friends. It's called Are You Serious? Where we're going to be interviewing a lot of different people from Chicago, traveling, interviewing just some people that we know. Also, um, since I'm from Chicago, I like to work with nonprofit organizations. So we're going to also be highlighting some of those with our podcast. Other than that, like I also have a lot of stuff going on. Mind you, I am a mommy of two, so big mom entrepreneur or whatever you want to say. But I have a children's book coming out about a little red panda. Because if you don't know, I love pandas. So I figure might as well write something that's like my kids inspired me to do. So working on that. Also have a children's clothing brand that is starting to take off called Loco. It's inspired by my son. So definitely got a couple of things in the works and a couple of things that I'm excited about. And you never know. Maybe you might see me back on the screen sometime soon. Oh, and one more thing. I am also, this is very new. We're testing out the waters. I am working on becoming a children's acting coach, which I'm very excited about. Um, yeah, so I have a couple of little clients. We're really just kind of figuring it out. Someone reached out to me and was just like, my child's really like they they want to be in acting, and they felt like I could give them some tips. So I was like, you know what? Let me work with them. Let me see what we could do. And I think that honestly just might be my calling because I'm very childish. I have a kid like soul. So I love kids. And I think that it will also be nice that if I was an acting coach, that I can make a safe space for children in the industry. Kind of like a little safe haven for like if you feel uncomfortable, you could come talk to me. Or like I had a woman, her name was Wesley. She would help me go over my lines. In my head, Wesley was my best friend my entire childhood, like on the show. So I would love to be able to be that for other kids who don't necessarily have a lot of friends because they might be homeschooled, or not something happened on set and they don't necessarily want to tell their parents because it makes them feel uncomfortable. I just want to be able to be that person, that confidant for kids, or like someone for them to look up to as well. We starting off slow, but I think honestly that might be my calling. I love doing it and it really gives me joy. So excited to see where that goes.